And there it is right there. So anyone left anyone leje ben and meji shere more. So there it is. And by the way, if you have any old school sort of clips, musical, if you have any old school sort of musical whatnot, music from back in the day, please send them to me. We're trying to represent them to the space. So if you have any old school, it doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter the language, but so long as it's old, musics of 40, 30 years ago, traditional music, of course, not people trying to pretend like they're Americans and whatnot. So send them in, and then we'll see what we're making of them. So good day to you. Good to be in your company. And how are you? Good day to you. So we used to do this back in the day. We used to have actually 2 sessions back in the day. We used to have like a 2-hour, an hour and a half, 2-hour session in midday, and then we have a 4-hour session in the later evenings. But that was abandoned for reasons of logistics. But we're trying to somewhat see if we can bring it back slowly, because that seems to be the format that works. 2 sessions a day, an hour and a half in the midday. So I'll try and at least a minimum of 2 every single week. I'll try and do that midday sessions. And those midday sessions, as I said, very, very short, an hour and a half to 2 hours, no longer, is to react to a particular subject matter. So the particular subject matter that we're reacting to today, of course, the El Rufai interview on Arise TV. So we'll be bringing that up momentarily. But before we bring that up, the protocol, click on the like button. Just as soon as you hear me invite you to do so, click on that. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, please do. If you want to come and join me on the screen, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard. Super chat towards the stream, share the links as widely as you can. So all those things, they're just not standardized rat-a-tat-tat that I do at the start of every session. It's a call to take an action. So I'm calling you to take an action. So you follow suit then and take those actions. Like, share, subscribe, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard if you want to come on the screen, and super chat towards the stream. So I'm inviting you to do those. So I'm inviting you to actually carry out an action. So carry out those actions then. So without too much dilly-dallying, because it's quite a long interview, we are going to be reacting to the then El Rufai interaction with Arise TV. So we'll bring it up, and then we'll see what we're making of it. So here it goes.
Game is playing out within President Tinubu's ruling APC party, between the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El Rufai, and the leadership of the APC. And as they pick ever more fights, any moderating influence seems to have been thrown out the window, replaced by seismic levels of divergence as the schism widens into deeper fractiousness. Despite denials, insiders will tell you that it's a time of extraordinary turbulence, and it doesn't look like it's getting any less so as the 2027 general elections approach. So far, Malam El Rufai, by the sheer propelling force of his character, appears to have defied all the challenges that have been thrown his way. But as both sides push the boundaries, can they still find a political sweet spot between them? Or has Malam El Rufai become too much of an enemy within, blowing up any chance of that happening? I'll be joined in the studio by the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El Rufai, in the first interview he's granted to any news organization since he left public office in May 2023. Plus, for an assessment, we have our guest commentator, a leading thinker who will bring his depth and breadth of analysis to the big issues of the day. I'm Charles Enyegolu, and this is Arise Prime Time.
If you want to make a full-time income from home working part-time, you need to know this one concept, because
Now, he's one of Nigeria's best-known politicians, having recently served 2 terms as governor of Kaduna State and previously as minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, as well as director of the Bureau of Public Enterprise.
And by the way, just to quickly address the elephant that is in the room, the elephant that is in the room is that there's a clear disingenuity about the El Rufai stance now that is being canvassing all over the media space, the social media space, and everywhere that you can find a microphone. There's a clear disingenuity to it, and that clear disingenuity is that the proportion that propelled Tinubu into office was very much lubricated by El Rufai. So he was one of the key factors that brought Tinubu into situation. And Tinubu courted him and cosseted him and romanced him so publicly and so aggressively. We saw the there was some panel that Tinubu was on, and he forced El Rufai to the rostrum and got a commitment out of him that El Rufai would be a party to his governance. So we saw all of that public courting, and then we also saw the rather harsh public disgrace as well, essentially used and dumped. So essentially used and dumped. And that is the proportion then that propels this now stance that El Rufai has taken. So that's where this is coming from. You know, because of course, if El Rufai has scaled through the Senate screening, and if he was a key component of this particular administration, he would not be singing in this tune. I think universally we all agree on that. So that is the elephant in the room. But let's carry on.
He's also a co-founding member of the ruling APC party and was once a Tinubu Uber loyalist. But now Nasir El Rufai is a man in the spotlight for different reasons. Ever since he was nominated for a ministerial position by President Tinubu, but was rejected by the National Assembly, the relationship appears to have gone south. He's been at loggerheads with the APC political machine, denouncing it recently in a searing rebuke for failing to meet in the last 2 years, alleging that it lacked internal democracy under President Tinubu. The APC hit back, accusing the former governor, who once held President Tinubu aloft in the 2023 general election, of plotting against Mr. Tinubu's re-election in 2027. It suggested that Mr. El Rufai's high expectation had turned into immense frustration over his failure to secure that ministerial appointment. And as the clash resounded ever more harshly, Malam El Rufai said he no longer recognized the APC. Lately, he's been engaging with the opposition, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and the Social Democratic Party. So are we now seeing a possible political realignment ahead of the next presidential election cycle? Well, for more on this, I'm suitably delighted to say that the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El Rufai, joins me now in the studio in the first interview he's granted to any news organization since he left public office in May 2023. Thank you very much indeed for choosing Arise as the place that you would do that interview.
Thank you, Charles.
The last time we met was in the same studio, almost 2 years ago, when you were my guest on this program. So let me start by wishing you a happy new year and a very happy birthday, which you marked recently.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And let me start with a simple opening question, because you said when you were last here, and at the time Bola Tinubu was a presidential candidate, that you were solidly backing his candidacy, and you held him aloft during the election and worked hard to secure his victory. And for the first couple of months of his presidency, you appeared to still give him unqualified support. Have the tables turned since then? Is your solidarity and support still to be counted on?
It's a difficult question to answer, Charles. I'm a founding member of the APC, and I'm still a member of the APC. But I have concerns about how the party is being run or not being run at all, and I've expressed those concerns. I've expressed those concerns because I feel that, like a father who has given birth to a child, I know the investment and efforts and the compromises we had to strike to create what is now known as the APC, and how many people sacrificed a lot to ensure that it was an internally democratic party with progressive ideals. And 2 years after the election of President Tinubu, the party, none of the party organs is functioning. The progressive ideals, in my view, are not being pursued with any vigor. And the very high expectations we had of the president to take this country to the next level based on his track record in Lagos is somehow not materializing. So I have no issues with the Tinubu administration. People say I'm a critic of the administration. I've never said a word about the Tinubu administration. My comment in a panel on democracy in Nigeria had to do with the APC. I've never, since I left office and the president begged me publicly to come and serve in his government, I had my plans, and I told President Tinubu from day one, when he asked me to support him, I said I would, but I don't want anything, okay? Because politics in Nigeria is always about what do I get for giving you support. I'm not in politics for that reason. I'm not in politics to get anything. I have a surname. I'm a self-made man. I have made my money before coming into public office. I don't need anything. After 8 years in Kaduna, I was nearly burnt out. I was struggling for 8 years, and I wanted to take a break, and I had my private plans. The president publicly appealed to me to put my plans on hold, and through 2 months of negotiation, we finally agreed that he would nominate me as minister, and there were certain conditions I attached to that. I think along the line, either the president changed his mind or something else, because please don't believe the story that the National Assembly rejected me. The National Assembly had nothing to do with this. The president didn't want me in his cabinet. He changed his mind. Whatever it is, frankly, I don't care. And I told him, and I moved on. And since I moved on, I've not said a word. I've not granted any interview. I've not commented on the government. But it is within my rights as a founding member of the APC, as one of the 34 people that signed the INEC form that got the party registered.
Right. Just to pause it for a moment, El Rufai there said that Tinubu begged him to be part of his government, and that was actually true. So this was the moment that happened. I think I just searched for it now. Hopefully this is the right one. This was the moment that Tinubu begged El Rufai to be part of his cabinet.
Their brother Nasir, make a promise. We won't let you run away from the country. That's the only way I will leave this podium. Where is the promise? You make the promise.
I promise.
Okay.
So there it is right there. So that was when Tinubu actually he forced his hand actually, because it may well be the case, and it's my suspicion that it is the case that El Rufai did not even actually really wanted or even want, it may well be the case that El Rufai did not actually really want to be a member of Tinubu's administration. He just wanted to make that push, to force that push, to see power transit from the north to the south to maintain the balance of the country. And then whatever happens after that, he'll leave it to the hands of faith. But Tinubu publicly forced him there to make a commitment that he will serve alongside him. We all saw it. And he made that commitment under duress, by the way. He made that commitment because he had other plans for studies. He was going to go to the UK, the US to continue with his studies, etc., to get a PhD, whatever it is. But Tinubu forced that commitment out of him. And true to that commitment, when Tinubu won that election, he sent El Rufai's name to the Senate. And then at that Senate, of course, we know what happened subsequently. So there's some sort of subterfuge. There's some sort of sleight of hand. And certainly there's some clear public humiliation vested upon this guy. So you can have some sympathy, some empathy for him feeling so aggrieved.
It is within my rights to ask, why is my party not functioning?
Indeed.
And that's all. And so, I don't know if I've answered your question, but
well, to some extent you have, but I'm going to press you a little bit more on that, because you suggested that there was, I mean, the impression that we all had was that you were nominated for a ministerial position, but that under serious scrutiny from the National Assembly, you failed to make the grade for security reasons. But you're saying that that was not what turned the tide of your support, that failure to win affirmation in the Senate. You're saying that the president decided that you were no longer going to be in his cabinet.
I believe that. I believe he changed his mind.
What makes you believe that?
What security? What was the security issue? I have been a governor for 8 years in one of the most difficult states in the country. Okay? I have been minister 20 years earlier. I've been in public life in the last 25, 26 years. What is the security issue? Where is the report? What about other ministers far less qualified, far less experienced, with huge controversies around them that scaled through because the president made a call? So please leave that aside. I don't want to focus too much on that.
Right.
The press.
So now that's a point being made by El Rufai right there, actually. It's very difficult to accept that it was anything to do with El Rufai not being able to pass Senate screening. And that is why then he's not a member of Tinubu's cabinet. Very difficult to accept that. Even more difficult, if you look at some of the elements, there are elements within the Tinubu administration. I'm not sure, the minister of state for budget and planning, I can't quite remember his name, but Amatawale, he's heavily linked with Boko Haram insurgency. He was Abacha's bagman, stole a lot of money, convicted in the United States, and a known sponsor of terrorism. He's in Tinubu's cabinet. Bagudu, he also an Abacha acolyte, hugely corrupt man. He's in Tinubu's cabinet. Abdullahi Ganduje, we saw him pocketing dollars. He's in Tinubu's cabinet. So there is nothing in that Senate screening that would scale those people through, but deny El Rufai. So that is to tell you then that the reasons why El Rufai is not in Tinubu's cabinet today is nothing to do with passing or failing the Senate screening. It is the machinations of shadowy figures in the corridors of power. So that's it cannot be anything other than that. So that has to be the attribution.
The president is a human being. He is entitled to change his mind. And it's not an issue. And it is a job I didn't want in the first place. So the slightest opportunity I had, the security thing was a good thing for me because it enabled me to say, Mr. President, I'm gone. And I went on with my life. Now, since then, has anyone released that report? What is the security issue? What is this? What is that? leave that. The only reason why I'm talking about this, Charles, is because anytime I make any comment about how the party is running or not running, or I visit a friend of mine, Tinubu's hacks go on, oh, it's because he didn't get a ministerial nomination. Guys, I was minister 20 years ago, all right, in my 40s. And I told Tinubu I did not want to be minister. I was not interested. He appealed to me, begged me, and gave me a challenge. What was the challenge? Nobody has sorted out electricity. No president has defeated the electricity mafia. You and I can work to defeat it. It was the challenge that made me accept. All right? Now, I had an opportunity to serve my country, and the person that gave me the opportunity changed his mind. It's okay. And I've moved on with my life.
But I mean, have you encountered him subsequently? Have you met him? Have you both of you since that time?
We have met.
Did it ever come up in your discussion?
We have met, and we have met a couple of times. But you know, we have met at Baba Akande's birthday anniversary last year, and the president asked me to come and see him. I met him once. We discussed, and you know, let's find ways. I said, Mr. President, I don't have any problem. I'm fine.
But when you say, what did he say to you?
He said, you know, we still have to find a way to work together. I said, I'm waiting. You know, you tell me how we can work together. But I want to assure you, as I told you, even before the election.
You know, there's this certain terminology within the Nigerian space. They call it "is coming." So Tinubu wanted to put him on "is coming," or whatever that term is. But I think El Rufai spotted that. So don't worry, I'm still thinking about you. You know, that sort of thing. Yes, so let's carry on.
I am fine. I have a private life which predates politics, and I'm pursuing my life. Look at me. Do I look like I'm stressed? I have put on weight. I sleep better. I don't have to read security reports about bandit attacks here, or you know, I am at peace.
But I mean, would you say that even though you are at peace, as you have suggested, that you've become estranged from the government of the day?
Look, Charles, I'm not a permanent government person. The first 38 years of my life I was in the private sector, okay? I came into government quite accidentally, and I have never wanted to be in government forever, okay? When I finished my work as Minister of FCT, I told late Umar Eradua I did not want any job because I wanted to go and complete my law degree in the UK and go to Harvard Kennedy School. I got admission many years before it lapsed. I wanted to go and finish that MPA. I always plan my life outside of government. But for me, being in government is just an interregnum, an opportunity to serve,
yes. Which is fine.
Yeah.
And based on
but not
that,
not to be there permanently.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah. But based on that, you must have expected, and in fact, many expected you to play a prominent role.
You see, the narrative of El Rufai is actually a narrative of missed opportunities. When Obasanjo finished his tenure, he attempted the third term, that failed. So he needed to pick a successor, and the successor, his first choice successor, was actually this guy, El Rufai. But that thing that thing about El Rufai, that arrogance, that self-aggrandizement, he positioned himself to need too much persuading, to the point that even Obasanjo then, he sent Pastor Tunde Bakari to go and speak to El Rufai in Kaduna to say, look, I'm choosing you to succeed me. And you do want to take this job? And he was playing hard to get and all of that. So that window of opportunity closed, and Obasanjo then went with Umaru Yaradua, who we all know how that played out. So he had that window as far back as 2007. And since then, he's been chasing then that opportunity, which continues to escape him and escape him. So when El Rufai, when he was pushing for power to transit from the north to the south, he wasn't pushing it out of any sense of patriotism or sense of balance or anything. El Rufai was pushing for power to transit to the south so that when power transits to the north, then he will get that then opportunity that he missed in 2007. So El Rufai's push for Tinubu to be president was essentially El Rufai's push for himself to succeed Tinubu. So that was the plan. So the first phase of that plan worked. He got Tinubu into power. So that was phase one. And then the second phase of that plan was to be a key prominent member of the Tinubu administration, a strong performer, to the point then that his name continues to be relevant in the build-up to 2031. So that was El Rufai's plan. But all of that fell apart at the Senate screening. And this is what you're seeing now. So his final throw of the dice, the desperate move of a drowning man, he's now throwing all of his heart into the ring for 2027 to propel himself into that opportunity again, either as a vice president to Peter Obi or as a mainstay to be president. So that's El Rufai's grand plan. But how would that play out? Only the future can tell.
In Tinubu's administration, because you helped to deliver that position to him, and he wanted people like you, from what you've said, coalescing around him to give him the kind of support that would make his administration successful. And people are wondering whether, you know, beyond the ministerial position, whether there was a different rift that might have been simmering that we don't know about.
Well, look, first of all, let me correct that. I believe that the purpose of politics is to serve, and politics is a vocation. You know, politics is not a career, okay? So you go in, you serve, you go back to your life. People without an address, people without a profession, people without means of livelihood should not be in politics, in my view. So I have always looked at politics as, you know, a process through which leaders get thrown up. And when I get an opportunity, I go, I do my best, I show an example, I build other people that will replace me, and I move out. So the assumption that once you contribute to the success of a political party or a candidate must lead to a payback through an appointment is misplaced.
Right.
Not all of us are interested in a government job, and I told Tinubu that. But Tinubu insisted, and I said, gave me a challenge, and I honestly thought, as you proposed, that he would want to get people like us to help him succeed. But you know, that didn't work out. It's fine. I'm back in my life, and I'm okay. And there is no, to the best of my knowledge, there is no other rift.
El Rufai is many things. Okay is not one of them. What we're seeing playing out is a man that is desperate. So this guy has been so used to power. He's been so used to relevance. He's been so used to being in the forefront of the Nigerian space. So it's like a duck out of water now. He doesn't quite know where to place himself, how to place himself, what to do with himself, or what the future looks like. Because he has a career pathway, and that career pathway leads to Aso Rock. And that journey to Aso Rock now is full of fallen trees and shrubs now, and there is no way through. And what we are seeing now is the last throes, is the final muscle spasm of a snake that his head has been cut off. So this is a drowning man now in a last desperate thrust.
Okay. Well, let me put it another way. You're known to be a reformer. I mean, you were in the Bureau of Public Enterprises. You reformed so many things. You were the Minister of Abuja. You had this transformative influence that everybody recognizes in this city. I mean, you went ahead to Kaduna State. I suppose the jury is still out on how that went.
Have you been to Kaduna?
Not recently.
The jury was concluded 2 years ago. But go to Kaduna. Don't listen to those.
I will. Yeah. I certainly will. But I mean, the thrust of my question is that you are known to be a reformer.
Yes.
as I mentioned, over the years. Are you supporting President Tinubu's reforms?
Look, I don't want to pass any judgment or make any opinion about the government, because anything I say can be interpreted as a criticism.
Well, you either support it or you don't support
it. No. I support some of the policies.
Right. Which ones?
Most of the economic policies are the right orthodox policies, okay? But the sequencing is wrong. The quality of the people implementing the reforms leaves much to be desired.
All right, and we get to that seminal point again. We always get to that seminal point. All of the critics of this administration, they say, oh, this administration is this administration is that. But then when you try to nail them down to the policy thrust and programs of this administration, a lot of them struggle to deviate from it, because if they deviate from it, then that is antithesis to progress. So do you understand? If they deviate from, if it says that he's critical of Tinubu's policies on the Naira policy, on the fuel subsidy, on the educational policy, on the infrastructural policy, all of which are eminently the right policies for the country, then if it says it deviates from that, it will immediately lose traction, because everybody knows that the policies being pursued are for the first time the best policies for that country. So now they now go into the frippery of parochialism that, oh, I don't like the minister of this. Well, it doesn't really matter what you like or not. Is there progress being made? Go to Lagos Calabar Expressway. There are countless YouTubers live documenting every day the progress. That road is moving at a dizzying speed. You know, the students' loan policy, the Naira is starting to stabilize, the economy is recovering, all of the trajectory upwards. So it's very, very difficult then for this guy now to maintain that. There is nothing that he can say that will sit outside of self-interest, because if he says anything critical of policy stance, then that will be the antithesis to progress in the country. So this is a drowning man, as I said, lashing with the very last gasp of its whatever.
And I think that some of the reforms are just wrong. You know, you don't target, you don't address food inflation by destroying domestic agriculture through importation, for instance. Food prices may be going down, but farmers...
This is the Chilean cherry tree that, if planted now, will bloom and bear fruit by July this year. It is a self-pollinated...
are being impoverished because they are being made to compete with subsidized agricultural products from Europe and other countries. So I have issues with many of them, and I'm in touch with many senior officials of that.
So do you see the struggle there now? So they're asking him then, what really aggrieves you about this administration? So is that saying, oh, they're importing food, and then the next one he will tell you, oh, they are not holding party meetings often enough, and those are the reasons why then he wants the country to abandon this administration and go with himself or Atiku Abubakar or Peter Obi. So you can see that there is not really enough substance in anything that he has to say to suggest that the country's interest is paramount in his pursuit. Is entirely, in the totality of all of everything, entirely about self-interest.
Administration, and I give them my opinion privately, but I don't want to go beyond that, because tomorrow they will say, oh, it's because he was not minister. Guys, I was minister 20 years ago. I'm beyond that. Okay.
And indeed, the president recognized your contribution to this country when he sent you a birthday message, which I understand was very flattering.
It was nice.
Were you flattered by it?
No, I wasn't flattered. I actually complained to Bayo Onanuga when I saw him. I said, why did you mess up my birthday? He said, why? I said, all my enemies...
How do you mean mess up your birthday?
Well, by issuing that message, all my enemies that were celebrating that no one would recognize my birthday compared to when I was governor, you know, were made to be unhappy. Some were compelled to send me birthday greetings because the president sent birthday greetings and recognized that I contributed to the formation of APC as well as success in 3 presidential elections. And we joked about it. But yeah, it was kind of the president, but it hurt my enemies more than it made me happier.
And of course, I don't know how much you hurt, because you, as you correctly pointed out, you were one of the founding members of the APC. I mean, recently you said the APC was originally established to combat corruption, rebuild the Nigerian economy, and enhance security. But you were quite clear that along the way, those goals have been abandoned. The APC...
All right, let's pause it right there. Let's pause it right there. So he's saying then that the APC was formulated to combat corruption and to propel the country in a different trajectory. And this is what aggrieves him about the Tinubu administration. But he was a key member of the Buhari administration, which was one of the, if not singularly, the most corrupt and the most rudderless administration we've ever had in the history of that country. So if he was that aggrieved that the nation was not being best served, why did he then not resign from the 8 years he served under Buhari, which again propels you then to the self-interest that propels him?
As I mentioned, is of course your party, so one presumes that you have the inside track on what's gone wrong and how it has come to this.
I don't know what has gone wrong. All I know is that a political party functions through internal democracy. When the organs of the party meet, okay, they give feedback to the government as to how it is doing, how it is aligning its output and efforts with the manifesto of the party. That's the purpose of having National Executive Committee meeting, which the APC Constitution requires must take place at least once a quarter. That's the purpose of having national caucus, so that other non-members of NEC, but
all right. So there it is. Rufai wants Rufai wants Nigerians to vote against Tinubu and replace him with either himself or Atiku Abubakar, because Tinubu is not holding NEC meetings in APC, and it's importing food to crash the price of food in Nigeria. So that's the main thrust of his argument. But let me bring in other voices. I've watched all of it. I'm just rewatching it with you guys now. But let me bring in other voices, see what they are making of it so far. So Femi, on mute. I'm sure you've watched this already. What are you then making then of the little midget from Kaduna State rebel rousing again? Femi? All right, we don't seem to have Femi. Oh, you're there.
Yes, yeah. I'm here. Yes, I listened to it yesterday, and I love to listen to it again. I've been saying it. What is like every opinion about Rufai about the government is spot on. Talking about the quality of people, not the policy, the quality of people, and do the policy, like making decisions. He's concerned about it, and I think he's right about that. There is better. What he's talking about, that there is better people that can be in that position than those boys of Tinubu. That they are those boys. He believes Nigeria have better people to handle those positions more than those people. And in my own view, I think he's spot on. He's right. And talking about internal democracy about the party, because he's absolutely right about it. How will you be a president? You have been governing for 3 years. There have been one neck, and that neck is all about removing Adamu and replacing Gandunje. Since then, there has not been any neck meeting. Like, there's no internal democracy in the party. And when there's no internal democracy in the party, how will democracy thrive in the country? In the ruling party, there's nothing. It's just like selection. They select, if they want to make you a governor, they select you to be a governor. If they want to make you a senator, they make you a senator. And look, I would like you to listen to what Bayo Onanuga interviewed this morning in his channel series. I don't know how Tinubu appoint that guy to be a spokesperson. I don't know how. The guy is lousy. He said, I pity former governor. 8 years, you are pitying a former governor. Who are you to be saying you are pitying a governor, a former governor? Can you shine the shoe of Rufai? Let's not be frank with ourselves. Who is Onanuga? Who is he? Tinubu make these guys like make them look useful. This guy cannot win their polling unit, bro. Muhammad, they cannot win their polling unit. This guy is an entity. Politics is all about numbers. Who can give you numbers? You don't create enemy for yourself. I don't know how Tinubu think about this before he take this decision. I don't know how. You have been in politics for a very long time and making enemy for yourself. I don't know how. He created enemy for himself. Rufai should never be in this. Should never be against him with the way they started. But you decided that I want to create this enemy myself. You believe you are a god, that you can do as you want, as you like.
Femi, I agree with you. The way they treated El Rufai is just completely unacceptable. And for him to feel aggrieved is fully understood. I will feel, everybody will feel aggrieved. You know, you bring him on the stage, you make him make a public commitment to you. And then when he was about to honor that commitment, you publicly undress him and disgrace him. So, of course, he should feel aggrieved. But is there, and what you're saying as well, there are certain elements within the administration that are not fit for purpose, but there are certainly elements within the administration that are fit for purpose, like Tunji Ojo, Umahi, Kiyamo, all of these sort of people that are doing excellent yeoman jobs. So, but is that enough to get rid of Tinubu in 2027? Is all that you're saying and all that El Rufai is saying, is it sufficient enough to get rid of Tinubu in 2027?
It's all about figures. Election is all about figures. Who has the highest vote? It's all about vote. In my own view, if they can swing Buhari into their own side, bro, one man, this guy is a gunner. Buhari is just like, it's still a strength for him. El Rufai said something that let this guy come to North and campaign. If they will vote for APC, they will vote for Tinubu. That they should come out. And let us be frank with ourselves. There has never been an election in the North for a very long time, since 2023. We should remember that. There have not been any election in that area of in that section of the country. You can never know what will happen. Because the certain region of the country, there is runoff vote, there is runoff of election, by election, this is happening. But you cannot predict what will happen in the North. You are just sending your wife to the North to be giving billions of naira every time. That won't win you election. We know those that win election, people command vote, not your money that you spend on the street. I want him to return there, as like I told you from the beginning that I support him be a Yoruba. Be a Yoruba man, seeing what he achieved in Lagos State. But as at now, I have not seen anything. Nothing. What makes me to be angry about it? We complain because Buhari is tribalistic. This man, and he said something. He said this we should say that it should not be on Yoruba people. That this is not Yoruba. That this is just a Agbero. That is what he used. He said Omoluabi Agbero. He called Buhari Tinubu Agbero. I know that is too much. He should not have got to that far. But he's angry. And you have said it, we should understand that the guy is angry. The guy is annoyed. It's seriously annoying. They rubbish him, they disgrace him, they molest him. Any type of thing you can call it. How will you bring someone for Anita to to come to the Senate, and you cannot let him to pass through?
All right, Femi. Let's hear from Solly, who also joins us. So Solly, on mute. I'm not sure how much of the. I'm not sure. Pardon me. I'm not sure if you are seeing this for the first time or if you watched it prior or what your thoughts are, Solly.
I've seen part of it. I just totally ignored it because I know it's good. I just came in here because, you know, your disingenuous comment on Tinubu's policies being the policies that are needed and the policies that are working. And then you mentioned the Lagos Calabar Road, and then you mentioned the Naira is appreciating. You know, at the end, that's just what I came to comment on. I don't know if I'm allowed to comment on it or I'll be attacked again as usual. Hello?
Carry on. The floor is yours.
And your name says one Macan meant to more. Anyways, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, obviously the project is overinflated. I doubt they will finish it in the first 4 years of Tinubu's administration. You know, there was no competition for it. They just had it all planned out like a money laundering situation. I've not seen how it's going to really benefit anyone right now, and I've not seen how it's going to benefit anyone in the future. That money could have been utilized for many projects that are needed currently, especially in this current situation that the country is going through. Then you mentioned about the Naira appreciating. Did you know that there was a sudden decrease in the foreign reserves of the country, which means potentially they are using the foreign reserves of the country to stabilize the Naira, which means that this is artificial. Even if you are going to bring investors...
No. That's the charter of the CBN. I'm not sure if you know that.
What do you mean by charter of the CBN?
That's the remit. That's what the CBN's core mandate is, to use foreign reserves to defend the currency.
And if they continue to use foreign reserves to defend the currency and it continues to deplete, then what will happen to the currency eventually?
It will stabilize.
It won't stabilize because there will be no more foreign currency to use to stabilize the Naira.
All right.
The value of the Naira will decrease. We've done this experiment before where you bought some Naira and we saw how it crashed, and then you stop buying Naira. If you are so confident in it, then you can put your money where your mouth is and buy more Naira, but you won't. So at the end of the day, you are pushing and supporting things that you will not involve yourself in, you know. And then there was an argument about insecurity reducing. At least now we know that it's because the funding to insecurity has stopped, or the inflow of the funds of the money going to insecurity has reduced. Not that they were fighting insecurity, not that they were stopping insecurity, because people are still getting kidnapped. Terrorism is still going on. And then you are talking about
at the same frequency we had under Buhari.
Not at the same. Like I said, the funding for the insecurity
has it significantly from where? From the United States.
You know what? Let's play it your way. Let's play it your way. List out the methods that Tinubu has used to curb insecurity in Nigeria. Tell us, please.
There's a better synergy between all of the security apparatus.
Tell us one of the things that was implemented.
No, that's what I'm saying. Unless you're not listening. There's better synergy between all of the security apparatus, which we did not have under Buhari. But the central thing is there is a political will to address it, and which wasn't in place under Buhari. The political will under Buhari was to use it to propel a particular hegemony, and we saw that play out in the way that they will arrest them and they will get calls from Aturok to release them. These people will go and kill all over the country, and Buhari will tell us to try and get on with our fellow citizens. So there's a better political will, there's better synergy. We have a better national security advisor, and all of they are taking the war frontally to them. daily and almost a weekly raid, bombardment of all of those spaces, to the point that a lot of the key components of that places have been decimated. The foot soldiers, and the one outstanding now is Bello Torji, who is on the run. So there is that. There's a better recalibration. There's a better structuring of the security formations. All of that is the culmination to where we are now. Nothing to do with funding.
Okay, can you show me one of the examples of this?
What do you mean one of the examples? Is all there in
you've listed so many things, right?
These are things that have played out over the last 2 years.
Show me the example. Show it.
All right, carry on with your narrative. Just carry on with your commentaries.
Exactly.
No, there's no exactly. What sort of idiotic comment is that? Should I start going online?
Okay. If it is raining,
just do your commentary and then we move on. Yeah.
Okay, yes, but you won't let me finish my commentary. If it is raining,
I've just told you to carry on.
When there was tsunami, we saw videos of tsunami. When there were attacks of Boko Haram, we saw videos of this. We see video evidence. We see evidence. When there is a crime, you see evidence to prove it. But I'm asking for evidence of all these things that you are saying. I can show you evidence of these same people that you are saying that the government is fighting. These people are still being forgiven. I've seen the highest amount of forgiving terrorists, more than Buhari's period.
Where is that?
Okay,
forgiving.
I'll look for it on Instagram and I'll send it to you. Because when it is my turn, right?
Oh, now you look for it on Instagram and you're asking me
when it is my turn, I need to bring proof. But when it is your turn, then it is an idiotic.
No, look, listen. If you want me to go and if you want me to go and Google images of aerial bombardments of terrorist formation in Nigeria, I can do that. But any and everybody listening to us can equally do that. It is a matter of lived experience rather than a matter of subjective opinion that the insecurity in Nigeria has vastly reduced as a result of our government action. So whether you accept that or not, that's up to you. But it doesn't change it from being
it. Can you confidently say that you can go and live in those areas where the insecurity has reduced right now, today, as we are speaking? Can you go there?
I'm not saying that it's. Do you even listen at all? I'm not saying that
the answer is no.
No. Are you? Do you listen? Do you? Just do your thing, man. Just do your thing.
So that brings it back to the same problem again. You say that the right policies are being implemented, but you refuse to buy Naira. You say that the insecurity has reduced, but you refuse.
Who told you I refuse to buy Naira? Are you my accountant?
Your actions do not represent your words.
Hold on. Are you my accountant?
Do not back up your words with actions.
Are you my accountant? How do you know how I manage my finances?
Okay, then prove to us that you are buying Naira as we speak.
Prove to you. I should send you my bank details. My financial details
right now. You don't. Let's say finding the bombing is hard, right? You can literally prove to us because you were very proud.
So I should send you my bank details to show you that I'm buying Naira.
You were very proud and confident to tell us when.
I should send you my bank details so I can. You must be a joker.
You don't need to show me bank details.
You must be a joker. You must be a real joker.
Not bank details that they are using as proof. They have receipts. They have transcripts. They have
just do your thing, man, and then we move on.
Proof that they can use to show, but you refuse to show. You were very confident and outspoken. You spoke about it for weeks on this platform when you were buying Naira. Before Naira crashed. Before Naira eventually crashed.
And what am I doing now? What am I doing now? What am I doing now?
Now you are using the defense of you don't want to show me your bank details, and I never asked you.
I'm using the defense.
So
in order to prove to you that I am buying Naira or not, I should put my financial details online in order to prove to you some random guy from wherever you are. What sort of a nonsensical argument is that?
Are you buying
is that even brain function? Just do your noise and let's get out of it.
So then you refuse to answer my question because I've asked you multiple times if you are buying Naira. And this defense of getting angry, this defense of backing it up with insult shows.
No, it's a very stupid thing. No, hold on. It's a very stupid thing to say that I should show you proof of my financial transactions. So how do I show that proof? So then to show you proof, I have to put my financial affairs on YouTube in order to prove to you some random guy what I'm doing in my finances or not. How does that even, what's the brain behind that sort of a comment? It's just a silly little thing.
So basically, with all the policies that you support, you have no way to back it up that you are physically or taking any action to show your support for it. So you've not taken any action to show support for it, except for going back.
What am I doing now? Am I not showing support for it now?
Show support in any way that
I show support.
Not with words.
For the
not with
removal
words.
of the first subsidy, I support that. I show support for the removal of arbitrage in the Naira exchange rate. I support that. I show support for the students' loan scheme. I support that. What action should I go and take student loan?
With the students' loan, show us somebody that you know that has taken the students' loan.
That I know.
Yes.
So if I don't know somebody
so basically you cannot back it up with anything.
Let me just say, I'm going to kick you out of here in a moment because you're too brain dead for this platform.
As usual.
You don't have brain function. If I'm not able to show you somebody from my personal experience that has benefited the government policy, then that shows that policy is not working. Is that what you're saying?
No proof of anybody benefiting from any policy that's
we have shown countless testimonies on this platform of people who have benefited from it. Get out of here. You are too dumb for this space. You are too dumb. Sorry, Femi, carry on. So sorry, Femi, was I being unfair to that guy? Is that not?
No, you are not. You are not. You are not being unfair.
For me to show that I am buying Naira,
it's just like. Me as a person, not you. It is not necessary or is not compulsory for you to be. That does not mean if someone is not with you.
If I am not able to show somebody that has benefited from the students' loan scheme, that means it's a scam.
There's a lot of people that benefited from it. A lot. I know some people that benefited from it. There's a lot of people. There's no scamming. There's no scamming that.
Hold on, Femi. Does that argument show you a brain that functions? That if I personally cannot show proof of somebody that I know, then this is that. How can you even have a conversation with a brain like that? Is that even a brain? Sorry, carry on, Femi, man.
Yeah, I will like to. I hope you, after this, you should try to listen to what Bayononuga said on Channel TV. You will look like, how do Tinubu appoint that guy as the spokesperson? In the first instance, people need to look at that. Like the guy is lousy. He's very, very lousy. And we should discuss mainly on what the topic on, like what Rufai said about. Rufai is spot on, and I think you agree with me on that with all his points, except I think he should come straight now. He's decamping from APC. This guy cannot stay in APC. They asked him, will you go back to PDP? He said, no, I won't go back to PDP. I think there will be a mega party for 2027 election. In my own view, that is what I'm thinking about. There will be something like mega party, and if that mega party can accommodate
I think they are going to SDP. So I think
that is what I learned also.
Rufai will go to SDP. If Peter Obi joins them, then Tinubu can feel threatened. But somebody has to give up their ambition anyway. The main obstacle will be Atiku. So if they can have Rufai, Peter Obi in whatever formation, head or bottom, then there's a real threat against Tinubu, which it may or may not be able to surmount. But I think that's what they are working on at the moment. But they need to get.
I learned that Fintiri also is decamping to APC. That is what I learned about. Because Fintiri and Atiku are not in good terms right now. They are not. I don't know the reason, but they are not in good terms. And I learned that Atiku wants to use this lady Binani to in 2027. And for me to see this, like we need to question the choices of Tinubu as a person. You campaign for Binani yourself. You say Binani should be the president, be the governor of Adamawa State. This lady has not been uh, compensate. What is all about compensation? I will use that word. In my own view, I think this man did make some. Will I call it a mistake, or you just feel like you don't care? One man, we are not, we are. I believe you are not enjoying anything in the government. You are outside the country. I'm outside the country. There's no a lot of benefit. But when we see something, we want this man to succeed because we supported him to win the election. I supported him. But his
you know,
choice of appointment make me to be worried.
Femi, my thing is, I agree with a good 80, if not 90% of Tinubu's policies. We've already said about the students' loan scheme, the consumer credit scheme, the removal of the arbitrage, all of those things I agree with. I agree with the Lagos Calabar super highway because that road is going to open so much of the economy in that space, and it will almost double the Nigerian GDP once it's been. The only thing that grows a country is infrastructure. It's not giving people as social welfare, something or the other. It's not throwing them food, but creating the enabling environment for the country to organically grow itself. And it's all down to infrastructure. So what are those infrastructures? The road network, the electricity space, the security space, a good financial system. So those are the key things. And within those things, this guy is propelling it's universally accepted that the thrust in terms of policy is where the country necessarily has to go. So how it's being administered is subject. You may or may not, you don't like the people there. Maybe I don't like someone. I don't like the guy, the minister of power. I can't say I like him. The minister of Blue Ocean or something. I don't even know what he's doing. I don't even know what that ministry is. A lot of them, I don't understand what they're doing. But some of them, I do. Who can disagree with Dave Umahi? Probably the best minister we've ever had since the history of that country, with the exception of maybe Fashola to contend with him somewhat. But in terms of the direction, I don't want that direction deviated from. But if you have somebody like Atiku come in, he's just there to steal for the Arabs. And if you have somebody like Peter Obi come in, it's just that insularity and clannishness, that is going to be the other. It's just going to ruin that country. So in the absence of a better alternative, I'm not quite sure we can see outside of this guy.
There must be. We cannot how will I say it? We cannot conclude in that way that Tinubu is the only person that can do it. There must be a lot of people that can do it. I don't believe this guy is the most brilliant guy in the country. I don't think so. In his age range, I don't think so. Being the most experienced, I don't think so. There are better people more than him. I agree on that. But at that last election, 2023, out of the three candidates, I mean the leading candidate, I think is the best among the three guys. Like, is better than with what we have seen from all the three, the antecedents of their past government office, and we see that this guy has done well in Lagos State. We see what Obi did in Anambra State, and the former vice president also, and that is why I supported him. That this guy did something, lay a good foundation, lay the good foundation of Lagos State, and they are working. They have been enjoying it for very long, over 20 years. Lagos people have been enjoying it. The Lagos State people have been enjoying it, and for me, I think he will replicate it in the federal government. That is my expectation. There is still a lot of time. Yesterday, Rufai said it himself. There's still 2 years to go. That this guy can still do something. He said it. This guy still have an open window to this administration. With the way he spoke yesterday, he said that this guy, with his conclusion at the end of the program, he said it's not about Tinubu alone. It is about Ribadu, and he alleged that Ribadu and the present governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, they don't want him. They are collaborating together because they believe by 2031 he will vie for the position of presidency. That Ribadu is planning to be the president of Nigeria by 2031. And I think it is possible because, in my own view, Tinubu is not Buhari. Tinubu will be more interested in person that will succeed him, be successful. I believe that it's not Buhari that said that. And yesterday he said that when Kaduna APC is Buhari APC, that the night of the election, he made some confession yesterday that he went to meet Buhari, that who do you want your people to vote for? And Buhari said that they should vote for their conscience. That means Tinubu also the guy is free. That means Buhari did not support him 100% in that primary. That guy just watched his hands off it. And he makes Tinubu to be a president today. But if he has been in support of Tinubu, it would have been a different case. He would have asked for a minister, a this, a that. And I see him not asking for any of that. We can call Buhari any sort of name, but Buhari is honorable with that kind of character. You can't tell me that Buhari does not have anybody that want to be a minister in this government. He has, but he decided not to have interest in it. For a man to behave in that way, everything is not about money. That guy does not care about money. That guy is honest, a little bit. Is more honest than most of our leaders. If people that work under him have been honest like Buhari, I think they would have done more better than what they did in the past 8 years of the administration. We should commend Buhari for that, but Tinubu has to turn the cycle. He has to do more. He has to do better. Now the prices of food is reducing. Is like because I have a lot of people in Nigeria, and they are telling me about this, and that is absolutely true. The food price, beans, rice, everything is reducing drastically is reducing, and that means the policy is eating fruit. But what I'm not against the policy from the beginning. I'm not against the policy of the currency about the fuel subsidy. I'm not against those policies. I'm not against the policy of local government, every reform, I'm not against. But there have been a judgment of Supreme Court for the past 7 months, and the local government has not started working. We should ask questions about this. We should ask questions.
All right, Femi. Let's hear from Pansat, and then we start to wrap it up. Pansat.
Yeah. One man, how are you? And Femi, good to see you, both of you. Unfortunately, Solly, I don't know how he rubbed you guys the wrong way. He's gone. You made a statement, Femi, earlier that Buhari is not Tinubu, and that is true. I wanted to start off by saying that what we're coming to see now is that formation in 2013 of a merger between Action Congress of Nigeria and then the CPC, Congress for Progressive Change, is going to unravel. That's what with Rufai. So now we can then calculate what the consequences are going to be for the election itself. There's still a lot of things to play out. Rufai, it's a very formidable character. He does have sense of self-worth, aggrandizement, and all that stuff. That's true. But a lot of politicians have that problem. So it's what is he's going full force. I thought he was kind of playing a little bit, but he's going full force. He referred to Tinubu as an area boy with his group now. He's going on major media to give interviews, and he's digging in really hardcore. Yesterday, I believe that one man, you say that he's looking for a fight and he should be taken on. You have to understand that he's a very formidable person. I know, what's the name of the senator from Kaduna? I can't remember his name. Every time I think about his name, it's can you recall the senator that he battled for many years until he got him out of the Senate? What's his name? Do you recall? It's not Sani. Shehu Sani, right? That's that. Okay, I remember the Sani. But anyway, so he's a formidable character. He knows where the bodies are buried. He was quite active in the last election as far as convincing Buhari to go ahead and embrace Tinubu and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't quite write him off. Tinubu has a lot of enemies now. At least he couldn't hold together what was handed over to him. Buhari, to me, one man, you've heard me say many times that it was Buhari that rigged the election. That it wasn't Tinubu that rigged the election. He was supposed to win Lagos on his own by bribing, using thugs and stuff like that. And it didn't work. That will never work. The election, if we have a similar election 2023, is going to be a revolution. Now, you mentioned that they want to use a third party now with Rufai going over there. Rufai can never win any election. He could play a spoiler, he could do all kinds of things, but he cannot win the election. So it depends on how Peter Obi and Atiku play their role. There's some things Obi might do, and he will play his hand as well, which means if he goes forming anything, because the reason why he didn't win the election wasn't that he couldn't get the votes on his own. That's not what the problem was. The problem was that the election was rigged. They shut off the beavers. So he's been overdoing things, over plotting, instead of working on the reason why he's not the president, which is the electoral system making sure that the collation and the results count. That's the only problem he has. But if he goes in there forming some kind of alliance with anybody who's not clean, then he's going to have a problem. If there's a way to correct the system where the courts do not pick the president. See, in our electoral laws, the courts are not supposed to pick anybody. What they're supposed to do is to look at the election and see if it passes muster. If not, then they will order the election to be held over. In essence, rerun the election. If it's a unit, if it's a state, if it's the entire thing, that's what the courts are supposed to do. They're not supposed to go in there to determine who won the election. So that's very, very important stuff. But anyway, so to summarize,
one man, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Sorry, it's one man there.
One man is here, yeah. He's muted because
Yes.
I'm talking.
So I just want to know how long.
What is it? How long what? All right, we can't hear you now. So to summarize, what we have to determine is the entanglement, which means the confusion, the complexity, the difficulty, and maybe embarrassment that Rufai is going to bring. How does it come into play? Who is Tinubu going to replace Rufai with? Right? So I don't see it. I mean, there's progress from an extreme inflation. There's a progress from extreme currency devaluation. So let's say you inherited $1 to 5 or 600 naira. You had it blown all the way to 1700, and then you bring it down to like 1400. Okay, well, that we have to count where you got it from, not how much it came down from the peak, right? If food prices, you have inflation in the food prices that were like up to like 70, 80%, maybe 100% in some cases, perhaps hyperinflation. People were starving. So if you bring it down some, or if you slow down the rate, yeah, you get a little credit, but does that mean that we have to go another 4 years of that kind of stuff? Those are the kind of calculation a savvy electorate will have to make. I believe it's unsustainable. But then if you add that with having enemies in the creeks, for example, Asari Dokubo, everything that was handed over to him, Wike, all those people, he can manage those people. And then he's aloof. He's not in the country going from state to state to find out what's going on. He's in France. We got a couple of years, a year and a half. So I don't see where anybody, even those who supported him, such as Solly, who was here. One man, let me post some a couple of things for you. I don't know if you want to share on the screen. Here's one. All these are from Twitter, so you shouldn't violate anything on YouTube. Now, these are two violence that are going on right now. One of them, it's a coalition leader of the Yoruba leaders. The council president. He's kidnapped from the Afenifere council president. And the other one is from Edo State, where terrorists, horsemen, are ravaging and kidnapping people. These are fresh. If you want to share those, they're right there on the screen.
Pansat, can you check your private chat under your name for a moment?
Let me see.
Pansat, can I just add?
Yeah, I can. I can coordinate.
How long do you have on this show?
I'm gonna be coordinating it for the next 30 minutes.
Maybe another 35 minutes. Then I have to shut it down. I have to do school runs,
Okay, he's gonna be gone. So since I'm gonna be coordinating it, you can now talk. Who was that? The arrow, was that you that was trying to get my attention? Go ahead for a couple of minutes, so we could then go to others. Arrow, are you here?
Oh yes, Pansat. Sorry about that. I was in mute.
Yeah,
I was just going to direct you that that gentleman you speak of is the youth leader, a fractional youth leader of the of what we've decided to term the Oanifere wing of the Afenifere group. So it is unfortunate there. I do hope that you can respond out. So, but yeah, that's that gentleman you speak of.
Yeah, we'll pray that they release him very soon. Okay, why don't we take it from the top? I know that Femi just spoke. In order to make my job very easy here until one man comes back, we start from Femi, 3 minutes. We'll go down, you skip me, you go to Femi, then we'll go to Midwest people, we'll go to the Progressive, we'll go to Aro Gedeba, then we'll come back to Femi. So, Femi, take it away. If you have nothing to say since you've spoken, you pass it on to Midwest people. Go ahead. Okay, Midwest people, go ahead. I think Femi is busy doing something. Midwest, are you here? Yeah, go ahead. 3 minutes.
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of something that we are discussing. Anyway, you just try to talk about the insecurity in our country. Yes, it's a thing of a great concern. It's a threat to every life, irrespective of ethnicity, region, religion, or even the level of class you command as far as the country is concerned. So that's just the fact there. But the truth of the matter is that it's very unfortunate that our leaders are very, very greedy, particularly the Satan leaders. So they believe that they can just occupy that space and they don't want to do the needful for the citizen. So that is a very big issue, because this thing that is going on is going to blow up that country. Got many external forces who don't even mean well for the black race and the continent. They have studied that country and they can see the weakness in all levels. So I think the only best way we can fix Nigeria, please let them take Nigeria to regional government, because every region know their people. And why we put our heads together, why as we manage ourselves and contribute to the central, that would be the best option. I don't think anybody within the Wazobia space can make Nigeria good, because what they want is power. Their power struggle from the beginning of this country is what we are still suffering today. I know many people will not agree on that, but that's just the fact. So they want to rule and put their ethnic people there and neglect the needs of everybody. But if they are greedy and they want to continue on this track, even those who feel that they are standing, when it will set, they will never believe their eyes. The country is so wealthy, it's so rich, and economically, globally, you see things are changing. Even the Western world, sometimes where we live here, things are changing. Inflation is here. They are not getting it easy anymore. So maybe if care's not taken, they may even return back to new world order where only power speak. Because there was a time our ancestors were living quietly in that continent and people divide them. They even enslave them. And if they choose to do that today, tell me any black country that can defend themselves. Nigeria don't even have catapult industry to make catapult, and like our ancestors were making spear, bow, and arrow. We don't even have anything there. So it's a very shameful situation. My advice is that they should take Nigeria to regional, let people manage what they are, because the northern part of Nigeria where they are taking gold and diamond today, if those leaders are to manage those resources and they are taking it, their youth are capable of rising against their leaders. So likewise, the
Listen,
South, Southwest,
Midwest,
every
you got 1 more minute, but I want to ask you a question so you could wrap it up with the question. I'll give you another minute to add to that with 2 minutes. What you're saying is what a lot of people have said, including Namdekana and all that. You cannot split the country without a fight. You cannot go to regional government, even if this president right now says that's what he wants. It's not automatic. There are people who have interests in the country, including the British, and of course, Northerners and some Southeasterners and some Southwesterners. They're not going to split the country. You're going to have to fight for it. You heard Amechi say that you have to take the country by force. Somehow, nobody who has power is going to give it to you. So when you are proposing going to regional government, there has to be a kinetic energy. You have to be able to do that by force. So now, how do you propose what you're saying? Because you say it a lot. You go to regional, like you have a choice. It's either you stay here, you do this, you do that. So address that. How do you go to regional government? You only have 2 minutes to do that. Then we'll go to progressive. Go ahead.
The best way to go there is for we as a people to agree that things are not working. Then we sit down, we go there. And that's the kind of fight we will fight. When you talk of kinetic, that's the worst mistake we will make. If Nigeria go to kinetic, Democratic Republic of Congo will be 10 or 20 times better than us. The same guys you hope upon that is going to support you is going to support B, they're going to support C. And why they will be taking the resources. Don't make mistake about that. Then I'm
okay, but I agree. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Then how do you do? If we agree, then we're gonna make the country better right now by reducing inflation.
Yeah.
If we agree, if we are one, we don't have any problem. Then we just do the right thing, right? We don't agree. So how do you go to regional government? Just tell me. You've ruled out violence. Okay, fine.
But before I go back to say it again, let me go to Amechi. Amechi cannot advise someone like me, a man who signed Chinese loan with the sovereignty of a country. I don't know what he's telling me to go and fight. Who should I fight? You know what it takes for you to sign a deal with Chinese government and say, come and take whatever you want in that country, and if we are unable to pay, and nobody's addressing it. You think they will come in this generation? So Amechi should, I don't know, he can talk to people who will listen to it, not people like my type. Then on the region, I told you, if we want to save the future of that country, first we will agree that things are not working. It's not going to work with this system of grant. Then we can talk about it. That's the only way we.
All right. Let me go to progressive. Before I go, let me just say to you that we agreeing is easier than us fighting, right? We agreeing is not as easy as you're making it sound. We agreeing means that the tribes have to agree, the states have to agree, the politicians have to agree.
We can't even fight.
Hold on.
Those who support you to start the fight will make sure the fight never end. And they will go to Geneva to discuss our issue. They will go to Moscow, they will go to United States, we will not be there. And the fight will keep on. Because
Right.
they will be
We'll come back to that. I because we need to develop that so that when you say once we agree, that's a problem for Africa, for Black people. Agreeing is what the problem is. All right, thank you. Progressive, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Pansat. I want to say, because I don't know if because I'm kind of driving in between borders, so I don't know how good my network will be over the time.
You're good. You're good now. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm just going to carry on anyway. So I saw the video from Rufai. Look, most of the thing he was complaining about was party politics. So, and as a member of APC, I think if he have grievances, he has rights to come out and complain about his grievances. And when he talked about the policies of the government, and he said he agrees with the policies of the government, it's just the implementation and the personnel that are carrying out the policies that he has issues with. Okay, so in that case, I don't know if he was able to mention certain area of the policies and the people that he don't think were capable enough in the government, because it's a very vague comment to say the people who are implementing the policies in which area. Is it in the economy side, or is it in power sector, or is it in the mining sector, or is it in interior, or external or exterior minister, whichever one it is? You should have just said in this area. I don't think the government have capable.
Okay, you're dipping a little bit here. Go ahead. You're dipping some.
Anyway, for people who have something against the government, problem with the government, this is an opportunity for them to tackle the government. While people on the government side will use this as an opportunity.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. But let me ask you a question before we go to Arugadiba. The progressive. I said when one man was here that the initial problem we have now is the untangling of the former CPC wing, because there was a coalition, there's a merger between northern politicians and that of the Southwest to form the to form the APC. So at the minimum, it's not just Rufai. When you hear Rufai speaking, he does have influence. He cannot win an election, but he has influence with other governors or former governors. And if, let's say, at the minimum, you now have only the ACN running, do you think ACN can win an election even with an incumbent in Nigeria? Could you address that?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, so I think it depends on the composition of the election. So if we have a three-way candidate like we had it last time, I think the president can win the election. Because don't forget, it's only if we have a situation whereby we have two candidates and maybe you have Peter Obi aligning with the PDP or another candidate, or the aligning with Peter Obi, whichever way it goes. So it becomes a bit problematic for the president, because then you don't have this.
Okay, I think we got a gist of where you're going. Maybe when you have a
Gist.
better. Okay,
You don't
okay,
have
you're back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
full notes.
All right, the progressive, I think it's gotten worse. Let me see if Arrow is here. Arrow Gidigba, are you here? It's your turn if you're here.
I am indeed. I am indeed.
Okay, then go ahead and chime in. You got 3 minutes until.
So, I mean, where do you want me to take it from? El Rufai, the El Rufai matter, or where we've deviated to? I know we're all very concerned about the situation of things in our dear land. And I think it gives us all concern. The way we all decide to express our frustrations and our displeasure is what is different. But I think you would find that no matter the political tendencies and no matter the philosophies that everybody believes in, we all would prefer if things were heading in the right direction. But I think I would like to address this El Rufai matter because I think it has either come to an end and this nail that is sitting up will be hammered down and addressed appropriately, or we are seeing just the beginning of what might turn out to be some form of what Fela would call rougher fight. I find some of El Rufai's choice of words to be rather unfortunate. There's no need for him to refer to either the president or if he's intending to refer to the president's cabal, because everybody has a cabal. It's either is referring to the president as an agbero and the leader of the agberos, or is referring to some of the president's minions that seem to be the ones doing the antagonizing as agberos. Well, that is rather unfortunate. Now, who is El Rufai? I mean, I think Pansachi referred to El Rufai as you didn't refer to him, but you seemed to infer that he is a member of the CPC faction of what you call the APC. Well, he is not. El Rufai was never a founding member, a principal member of the CPC faction that came to form the APC. In fact, El Rufai, I can't really say was a member of any particular political tendency at the time. It was just a nuisance in the side. There was a thorn in the side of Jonathan. He had made himself a nuisance. He had become a very vocal critic of the Jonathan government, leading up into about 2012. I would say from about the 2011. I think the subsidy protests were sometimes in January 2011. If I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. And from around that period, he had become a very vocal critic. He had become a nuisance. We don't understand the Rufai for what El Rufai is. The same thing he's doing right now is what he did to Jonathan. He became a very, vocal critic, then the Jonathan government did not handle him very well. They decided that they were in response. They were going to use the instrumentality of the DSS. Remember Marilyn Oga? Literally every single time Rufai presented himself at any customs desk, either exiting the country, coming into the country, or transiting within the country, he would be harassed, arrested, and detained unnecessarily. The Jonathan government did that, and obviously that forced him into the coalition that formed APC, the APC coalition. But El Rufai, because it wasn't the CPC. Remember that El Rufai had made some unflattering statements about Buhari prior to that.
That is correct. Okay, so let's tangle a little on that. I believe that you're right. He was though from the PDP, right?
Yes, it was. Even at that, you have to remember that even at that, you can't really call him part of the NPDP. So when we speak about the PDP, we are speaking about the NPDP. The NPDP was the Saraki faction. The Saraki faction, I would say that, if at all, we can say that El Rufai was with the Atiku faction. But even
Okay, but
Atiku as well
isn't that superseded by the fact that he's a founding member of the
of the
APC?
APC. Oh,
Yeah,
without a doubt, not only a founding member, but an important member. Because
right,
when you look at it, like I said, there's a lot of people that really came together to form the APC.
right.
But
But that's
there's a few people
I want you
that were yeah. The
I
APC
want you
was
to
formed
take
on
me.
the basis of antagonizing the Jonathan and the
Yes, he did that.
PDP.
He
Yes,
did
so
that with
that was the basis of the
impunity.
formation of APC,
Right,
and
with
he did it
impunity.
very well. Yes, he
Right,
was one
he
of
did it.
their
He was not
frontline
punished.
soldiers.
Right, he was not punished. That's why I'm saying
Oh,
let's take
punished
it
by
from
whom? Punished by
by
whom?
Jonathan
Oh, but
when he
it was unduly harassed by the Marilyn Oga. Remember Marilyn Oga? I think we remember her very well. She was a
I know
senior,
he went into
senior.
exile. He went into exile. Rufai. I want to take it to where it's important, right?
He
He
was
went to
he
exile.
couldn't be punished. I mean, what would be his crime for which he will be punished? However, he was harassed.
He was harassed. He ran into exile, but he quickly organized. And I saw him frustrated in London, and then he made his way back in, right? And then continued to menace the Jonathan administration. So, but what I'm saying is that there's no need to look at his genesis where he came from. Where if he was with Buhari earlier, you have to look at him now that he has gravitas, right? And what he did, the role he played in the last election, right? He played a role in having Tinubu coming into play. But we
Yes,
knew that he's a friend of the former emir of Kano. I mean, he's still
yes.
the man of
Sanusi, yes.
who sounded
Labidos,
right.
they are very. I think someone had mentioned that they might have been friends from their university days.
And that character was tangling with Ganduje, right? Who is now the
Yes,
chairman and a good friend of the
yes,
president. So the president
yes,
had was in a position where he has to make a choice between that camp
yes,
and this camp. Okay, now, so now
yes.
what I'm saying to you now is that what could he do? Now, remember, you had the 5 northern governors who talked Buhari out of choosing somebody from the northeast to go ahead and go with Buhari.
And El Rufai was one of the principal member of that group. Yes.
Right. So does he have control of those former northern governors? Maybe some of them are still in office, but I believe that's a lot of them
No, not
retired.
necessarily. I think okay, some of those not governors, who are they? Okay. One of them would be someone like May Malabuni, would be one of them. You would have a character such as Ganduje would have been one of those governors at the time. You would have had someone like what's this guy, one of the North Central governors as well, was involved in that conversation. What's the name of this governor that wears this kind of funny hat? There's a number of them that were involved in that conversation. But even at that, I would like to say, El Rufai is somewhat, I wouldn't want to call him an enigma, okay? But he's quite an interesting character. I think sometimes I'll say between 2016 and 2019, there was some that was around when we had like Akere Dondo and some southern governments getting together, and there was a bit of a conversation about about uh, about restructuring the country and proper federalism and real federalism and this and that. And remember, APC constituted a committee to look at look at the Orangery report again, look at federalism and look into these matters. And I can remember the L5 put forward a report, and it was very unequivocal in that report that for things to be proper, APC needed to select at the next opportunity, one, a Southern president. That report also documented the need for restructuring. So I think as a character, he has his merits. El Rufai was not a member of Buhari's cabal. I think we can put it out there. El Rufai is someone that has a lot of enemies. And I think even the people, even in the north, a lot of people will deal with him with some caution because he's a fellow. He himself and Rauf Arabeshola, they have the same character. He's not a person if you want to go and commit a crime or engage in something dishonorable that you can trustfully bring along. Because it's quite
Okay,
possible.
I believe that's a good place for you to pause right now. We're going to come back to that analysis you're making because I think we could learn a lot from you, from what you're saying. But let's go back to Mr. Midwest people, and then we'll welcome in Man of Prestige. Mr. Midwest people, go ahead, and if you're still here, and then after you pass on to a Man of Prestige.
Where is it? Okay. Hello. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, loud and clear now.
Yeah. So, yeah, what I want to say is that it's unfortunate that this situation we find ourselves. The politics of today is just the politics of pause, not the country anymore. Nobody is interested. So they have power. They are looting the country, and they want to loot it dry, and they are not doing anything at all. Under this current system of grant, nobody can build a country because whatever they are building all lack accountability from A to Z. And sometimes when something goes wrong, you don't even have anybody to hold accountable for it. So you can see the gravity of the evil that they are committing. So the best way to save life and the best way to save everybody is for them to admit the fact that it is not working, and under this current system is not going to work. Let's do it better so we can truly have a country. As we speak today, the best doctor, they are out of the country, the best engineer, the best accountant, everybody's fleeing. So it's going to fix that country. So we have a lot of questions to ask ourselves if we want to survive as a people, because the global order is going to change. And how it's going to affect Africa, I'm really worried. Now we're going to enter a stage or arena where power speak, not rule based anymore. So that's just the fact. Thank you. I give the space to another person to echo their own view as well.
All right, thank you very much. Go ahead, Man of Prestige. I do have a question for you later on, Midwest. So let's welcome in Man of Prestige, and then we'll talk.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's too early here. Probably good. But anyway, I'm not really a fan of El-Rufai, but the little that I know of him, he seemed to be politically, a very brilliant politician, in my own opinion. Just the way he articulates and everything. From my understanding, he was one of the founding member of APC, and that was I can recollect on his 65 birthday. I think it was Bayo Nanugo on behalf of Tinubu, help congratulating him, for what he has done for the APC, the way he shaped APC, beginning from their first governing of the country in 2015 to 2019, and the way he helped shape Tinubu presidency today. We know the kind of role that he played. That was very important, and in my own opinion, I think he's one that galvanized the northern, cabal, to support Tinubu. Of course, Emiloko Tinubu played his role, so that's what I think. But in reference to what's going on right now, does he have a right to speak? Yeah, he has a right to speak. Everything he said, do I agree with him? That's his own opinion. So I'm still wondering because nobody has come out and said, if I have to believe between the two, according to the Tinubu camp, they said he was disqualified by the Congress, and then Rufai came out and said no, it was Tinubu. And if I have to go by, if I'm a betting man, I will say the latter. It was Tinubu because if Tinubu really want him to be in the cabinet, like he said, Tinubu promised him to be in the cabinet. We know what happened in the London. When they when they went to the London conference. Every other presidential candidate was there. He was the one that was delegated to to answer the question about I think to answer the question, in reference to, I think, wasn't that about, what was that question again that, they posed him, they wanted you to answer? I think it was, yeah, he was giving the question about security. Remember when Tinubu was delegating the question when they asked him, he said, this person is going to say this person is going to, so, he was delegated the question of security, so he answered it. But having said that, so the point I'm trying to make is that I think it was Tinubu that said he doesn't want him in his cabinet. But for what reason? I don't know. If anybody know, or anybody has a clue, or we are just speculating, or if there's any fact to back what anybody is going to say, the reason why Tinubu don't want him, I think Tinubu would have been better with him. But is Rufai a snake? Yes, he is completely a snake. Because when I went home, not the last time I went home, the year before, when when Buhari was still in power, 2 years ago, before Tinubu came in, I went to Kaduna, and I see, he did a lot for Kaduna. He did something for Kaduna, but you know how Nigeria is, anything they do, like building of road, which I consider to be very pedestrian, because here we don't consider what governor building a road or other kind of thing is an achievement. But in Nigeria, or like what Wike is doing in Abuja right now, people think that he's the best performing governor because he's building road. This is what is expected of you. I mean, it's for taxpayer money you're doing. So I don't really believe any governor in Nigeria is performing because they're not doing anything out of ordinary. They're just doing the minimum that is expected of them. And people are saying they're the great. But in terms of Oruba, he did some of those minimum that's expected of Nigerian governor because I was in Kaduna for 3 days. I left on the 4th day. So I was in Kaduna for 3 days. So I traveled a little, with my cousin over there. And from what I heard, some of the things that he built, the IGR and everything, he bring it to the highest level ever. So did he do good in Kaduna? But the atrocity that he perpetuated is undeniable. So it doesn't really matter how good you did, but when you perpetuate an atrocity, it overturned all the whole good you have done. Because look at what happened in the Southern Kaduna. He never recognized them as part of his people, so that's well documented. So he can deny that fact. But the reason why, John, I just wanted to come and listen, like I'm not too much privy about this Erufai antecedent. But the question I want to ask, why didn't Tinubu pick him in the cabinet? If anybody can answer that, please, I would like to learn because
All
I
right.
don't know why. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man of prestige. We are going to demand more than you listening. I believe that you just
No, I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be contributing. I'm just saying,
and I want your contribution because nobody knows more than you do. We're all here trying to piece it together, and when we take it all together, we should come to the right thing. I actually have a question for you because it's not about knowing everything about the situation, right? What we want to see, it's okay, he's landing some jabs on the president of the country right now. Some of it are just name calling. For example, call him area boy, stuff like that. Does that fit, right? In that case. Now, but in another way, he's criticizing the policies. Now, I disagree with one man a little bit on this because one man says, okay, look, he says he disagrees with the people who are pushing the policy, the characters, right? But when he asked them about the policy itself, that nobody disagrees. But I listened to Rufai very carefully when he was on that Arise interview, and he's talking about the sequence of the policy, for example, the arrangement, what came first, the progression, the order, the course. Should you do this first before you do that? Even though I support the policy, but priority is so now. The one question I want to ask you, because before we go to, I believe it's Arrow next, right? Does that land? It's a if you have a Rufai whittling down the commander in chief, right? So if you say the commander in chief is an area boy, it makes him now approachable. So in that case, that's not what I'm asking you. I agree that calling him names and jabbing him.
Wait a minute, Pastor. I'm sorry to interrupt. I've not
It's
really listened. I know he was on Arise News. I was going to listen to it. Did he call Tinubu area boy?
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Okay,
Okay,
sorry for that.
but
Don't continue.
okay, but that, my question is not on that for you. But what I'm saying, if the criticism he's laying on the president now, it will be something different if it doesn't land. Then he just, somebody who's disgruntled because he wasn't put in the cabinet, right, by either Tinubu or the assembly, whoever wronged him. But the point is that when he says, "Look, I don't believe in the sequence or what the priority, the implementation." Do you think that those kind of criticism, since you didn't listen, maybe I'm gonna let's move it to Arrow. So we'll come back to you, man of prestige. Give you a minute. There's only 4 of us here. So Arrow, does that land? The few that he's already laid down, I'm sure he's gonna get it more intensified unless he's made whole. Politicians can always make up in a minute. But some of those criticisms that's laying on Tinubu, do they land? Do you follow me?
Absolutely. I think some of those criticisms, it's nothing new to any of us in this platform. I think even some of the Tinubu supporters of like Kulata and other individuals have come to this platform to say they're not quite satisfied with the progress of things. Yes, there are some wins. They see some things that are going very well, but they feel that the government is being distracted by some other things that they think they can make improvements on. So some of those criticisms would be apt. Some of those criticisms may be unkind not because they are absolutely untrue, but maybe because they are premature. So we can't dismiss them outrightly. At the end of the day, I think we should expect that everybody speaks out of goodwill, and that everyone is addressing things in the interest of advancing the nation. So we can't dismiss the criticisms outrightly, even if some of them are rather premature.
Okay, how do you think that Tinubu should react now based on, is he going to assess him as a nuisance and just ignore him? Like somebody said yesterday, I believe, yesterday's show, there might have been one man who says, you know what, it's strategic to just ignore him and not make him rise to the best answer for a fool is silence, right? How do you think, what do you recommend for them to do? How should they handle the situation right now?
These are the challenges of leadership, I guess. So, Rufai is burnt the bridge. Tinubu has 2 options: to repair that bridge. In repairing that bridge, it could come across as rather weak to other observers. Because you have to understand, this is the game of politics. There are other observers that are waiting to see what Tinubu does. It can either, repair that bridge, okay, at a cost, okay, or he could smash Rufai with the might that he has. Rufai already has some political challenges, which is God's appointed governor in Kaduna, who is already undoing some of the legacies of the Rufai administration. So there's quite a lot of things that could be used to get Rufai or to make him uncomfortable, to harass him politically. I do not know. It's the challenge of leadership. I thank God that I am not in that situation, because to not smash him could show signs of weakness, but to also smash him and destroy him absolutely, to some people would just be why is the mighty and powerful, why is he attacking this insignificant fellow?
Okay, so what do you give it, like 50-50 or like 70% go after 30%?
See, the problem is Rufai already has political worries in Kaduna with the current governor, Sonny. I know, I think you must have seen the interview that the governor granted some weeks back, in which I think about 2 weeks back, the current governor, and Rufai were attacking each other quite very publicly.
Yes, he said yesterday
Some
they're not friends, quote
some
unquote. Yeah.
yeah, some very nasty words were used, in which I think it described the governor as though the governor was a peasant at the table of Tinubu, for which Tinubu has essentially Tinubu has bought the governor's what should I use here? His conscience. He bought the governor's conscience. So I don't know. It's a very difficult matter, but El Rufai has made it very, very, very difficult, because previously they were just bantering and sharing unkind words on the internet. But in this case, he's actually quite publicly come out on national TV, given an interview in which not only has he criticized the government, the sitting government, he's criticized the management of the political party, the APC.
Does it land? Is it?
And he's criticized the person of the president himself. Beyond the presidency, beyond the government, he's criticized the person of the president.
Okay, but are those cabinet management and all that, do they deserve to be criticized? Do those criticisms land?
Yes. People like Femi Gbajabiamila and a few of the individuals there, I don't think have managed the president well enough. I don't think they've been rather firm. That's where I would prefer someone like Fashola to be in there. I think Fashola is not a psychopath. Fashola has been, I know individuals that were somewhat in the cabinet in Lagos at the time, and during the Tinubu years, and I have 2 individuals that served as permanent secretaries, whatever they called them, in the Lagos ministry at the time. And Fashola was very firm. He was hated by a lot of people in the ministries and people in government, because he wasn't a psychopath. He was able to challenge Tinubu very directly. I would prefer someone like Fashola to be there. He can guide the president very well. He's not too worried about the politics. He'll be much more worried about managing the administration, from a legal standpoint, from an administrative standpoint. I think there's people in the ears of Tinubu right now that would confuse him even further. I don't think Tinubu had a problem with El Rufai, but I think El Rufai had a lot of enemies and a lot of people that were not certain about him in the Tinubu government that made sure that it was disgraced at the Senate. I think that's where things started. The mismanagement of El Rufai started, and the fact that they allowed his name to be submitted, ultimately to be disgraced. They shouldn't have submitted his name. I think the president should have approached him and said, you know what, there are some individuals that are making statements. It would seem there are individuals that don't like your personality. I don't want to put you out there so that they will attack you. Why don't you and myself come to an agreement that at a later time we would have we'll continue to have a conversation.
Right.
But at this point in time, I don't want to submit your name for this, because I think there are individuals waiting to humiliate you down that road, and I don't want to do that. I think that's where the president should have managed that matter at that stage. It should never have been presented for the Senate screening.
That is true. All right, I was going to do a mic test. I've got a communique from one man that he'll be shutting this down in about 10 to 15 minutes. So we can then do 2 minutes here. I don't know how long the math will come out to be. Let's do 2 minutes now, starting from Midwest people. Midwest people, the way I want to present it to you is where we stopped the last time, because there is your go-to place, which is always to say, you know what, we do this or we do this, else we have to go to regional government. So why don't you use your time on top of whatever else you want to discuss to allay my worry that you have to work on these problems we're working on now, including this El Rufai matter and other matters, whatever it is we're working on, because your go-to place is not easy, which is to say we all work together, we agree, and then make our country better. If they won't do what we want, then we should all agree. If we could all agree, right, that would be the first thing we're gonna do. We won't need these politicians. problem is that we cannot all agree. It's impossible. Is the last option for us. So now, knowing that your go-to place, the place you've reserved for refuge, or it's not sustainable. It's not possible. We cannot all agree. We cannot get together. The north, the south, or the southeast and southwest, they cannot agree. APC, PDP, they cannot agree. Christians and Muslims, they cannot agree, right? So the older people and the younger generation, they cannot agree. The older people want to keep all these monies, all our resources, keep all the power. They don't want the youth to come on into the playroom, right? So now, knowing that we can always go and do regional stuff, comes with a kinetic energy. We have to fight for it. We have to go to war, or we have to protest, or we have to do all kinds of things. Like Amechi said, you don't want to listen to him, but he's right. He's not going to give you power. You have to take it from him, he says. So what I want you now then is to chime in on the contemporary issue, which is, for example, this Kaduna El Rufai issue. So those kind of things, work with it. How do you assess this administration now? And what do you think is going to happen in the next election? And how do you think El Rufai is going to affect the outcome? Thank you.
As I said earlier, our current leaders, what they want is just power and control. El Rufai talking today is not talking because of Nigeria. He's just talking because of him be kicked out. So, but I know in the next election, all hands is going to be on deck to try to take power from Tinubu. So they're already planning everything, and they're going to try to execute it. Whether they will succeed or not, it depends on how Tinubu is going to also play his own game. El Rufai, indeed, you cannot undermine him. He is a voice, highly recognized voice in the northern politics. So, and they are very, very, strategized people. They know how to play on people's mind and get the power, not that they have anything to deliver or to offer. So for me, whether Tinubu is still there,
But we're not going to let the power go to the north, right? In that sense, there's also that dichotomy where it's a southern presidency from now till 2031. So El Rufai coming to play, it's either he's going to endorse somebody from the south or endorse Tinubu himself. There is no way we're going to let the power go to the north. It's not their turn. Isn't that in the play?
Yeah, the thing is, they're going to try to seize the power to north with some of the policies they feel threatened, and they are not good to endorse anybody in the south, because if they endorse anybody, that person may likely go for another tenor. So being power hungry people, power hungry set of people, they're not going to do that. They're not going to make that mistake. If
I
they
see.
see
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Man of Prestige. If we have more time, we'll come back to you, Midwest, according to your time a little bit. Man of Prestige, 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm here. Listen to what El Rufai has said, recently, that the party abandoned their principle. I mean, they lack an internal democracy, poor leadership, and some other some other things that he's saying. But that's his opinion. But he has been overwhelmingly critical of this present government. Where does that come from? Is that because he was not given a ministerial appointment? He was one of the founding members of APC. So the question you ask, why is he doing all this? Okay, the cat has already been, let out. So let the game begin. That's the way it is right now, because I don't see any kind of reconciliation. Say, okay, we're going to say we're going to welcome you back and something like that. No, that's not happening, because he has his own agenda. Particularly the North, they feel like the power belongs to them. I mean, they've been ruling this country. Haven't they ruled the country more than 2/3 of the, of our 60 something years, 65, 66, or whatever years we are right now, independence? They've been ruling this country. So regardless, I'm not a Tinubu fan, but I rather prefer the presidency remain with Tinubu or any Southerner, So I mean, that's the way I see it, because the North, they have not delivered, nothing has come out of them. The power doesn't belong to them. And the question I'm asking right now, what is every five political capital when it comes to the North? We know how the Northerners are. They are very cunning, they just believe the power belongs to them. How can he be able to convince other, other people in the North, like Atiku and some of the oligarchy they have over there, to form an alliance with him? Because like Midwest properly, stated, or you stated, I don't see them giving it to the Southerners, because if there's any Southerner right now, the person is going to rule for the next 8 years. I
So,
mean,
by
they
the way,
want the power.
Man of Prestige, I have just two small questions for you, so you could just answer them.
Okay.
Bear in
Go
mind
ahead.
that the time is limited. The first one, let me just put that one as a comment, which is, okay, Rufai goes to the press and we see this gentleman from Arise questioning him, but he never asked many questions about his own crimes. For example, in Kaduna and all that, a lot of people who were by the allegations of fraud that his successor has been leveling some stuff on him and stuff like that. So it makes it easy for him to weave around the press, making accusations against the president right now. But my question for you now is this: we have a revelation of which a lot of people have. Let me do mic test for the progressive before I finish asking the question. The progressive, are you okay now? Can you hear me? Could you say a couple of things? No, if we're gonna come to you afterwards. Can you hear me, the progressive? Okay, so
Pastor, I can hear you now.
Okay, very good. Okay, we're gonna come to you after Man of Prestige. Man of Prestige, the question I have for you is this: we have revelations from IBB, right? That's coming in on time. Perfect timing for somebody like P2B, who I believe you support, right? And do you see this revelation of this not being an evil coup begin to thaw out some of the hatred that these two tribes have for one another, and seeing them saying, you know what, if this wasn't an evil coup, we've been so unfair to these people, maybe this is a way for us to make it up? Do you see any kind of thing like that happening between now and 2027?
So you're talking about between the North and the South, particularly the Igbos, right?
Yeah, Southeast, yes.
No, I don't see it, because I've been seeing what has been communicating online already. The people from the North, they are opposed to the book. They say the book should be burned and thrown away. They are very adamant. They have already been brainwashed. I'm not basing my assertion. This is not an Igbo coup. I categorically stated I was one man when we had this section on Saturday, and I said it wasn't an Igbo coup, and I have my reason. It's not because of this treasonous Babangida book, that it says, and not. I've got my sources from different areas that are. I mean, almost about 5 or 6 sources. Not just from the Igbo, from the Yoruba, from other people that are, well known people that that participated in the war. So I don't believe it's an Igbo coup by no means.
Man of Prestige.
Yes.
Sorry, I want to quickly come in, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen,
yeah, go ahead.
If we said the coup was not an Igbo coup, but we have to understand that there were 2 coups that same year, 1966, right?
Right. The other one on June or July.
Is it then safe to say the other coup was not a Northern coup as well?
You mean the retaliation?
Yeah.
Well, that one was obvious. It was a retaliation, so it was an after coup. But the first coup wasn't an Igbo coup. Forget about. Hold on. Forget about the makeup. Okay, you need to read. It's about 21 people, high-ranking officer that participated. If you look at that, out of that list, there's at least 4 to 5 Yorubas, about 7 or 8, Igbos. I'm talking about the people that planned it, not necessarily people that participated. Then you have people from Edo. I think about 2 people from Edo, 1 Hausa man and some Midwest. And their main reason of why they plan it is to install Awolowo. I mean, everybody may doubt it, but
okay.
This is
half an hour.
right. So,
30
but anyway,
seconds.
that's not even the question where I go. But
wrap it up.
period. It's not an
Then we'll go to the progressives too.
But let me go back. Let me not digress. Let me go back to the question you asked me, the president. So I was just saying that no, the Northerners don't. The book doesn't reveal anything. They're even against the book. They think that Babangida, he's dying right now. He's a sellout. They're against the book. Go and look online. What
okay.
Nothing is going to come out of that. Okay.
Okay, I want also be cautious of people who are online, especially with the Northerners.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
think.
against on. Oh
No,
no,
no.
but I'm not.
What
It's
I'm saying
against
is
their
that
leadership. The Fulani, the
I
oligarchy they have
understand, but
over
what
the
I'm saying,
Kabas.
you cannot use online activity. There's a
No,
it could be
I saw people speaking. It's not about. It's not a fake news. I saw people speaking. I mean, I saw some forum where they were, the chat and
okay.
everything. Where they were chatting. No, they're not buying it. Period. Let me just put it in a simple
Okay,
term. They're not buying the book.
I'll take a look
They
at it
still believe it's
myself.
an Igbo coup.
Okay,
So nothing is going to change.
I'll take a look at it myself.
Yeah,
I
they're
hear
not
you.
buying
Okay.
it.
Okay, man of, thank you very much, man of prestige. The progressive, go ahead and speak as much as one man will allow you to speak before, and then we'll go to the other ones. Go ahead.
Just I had issues with network earlier on, but I think it should be fine now. So I was talking about the Rufai position earlier on. So man of prestige asked a question if anybody knows why Rufai was not picked. So if you need to listen carefully to that interview, and then you will be able to understand what Rufai was trying to say. So during this Senate confirmation hearing, there were petitions that were written against Rufai. This is in the public view. I don't know why you're even asking this. Everybody saw this. There were a lot of petitions regarding to when he was a governor, as to how he handled the South Kaduna killing. He was accused of ethnic bigotry and ethnic cleansing in the South Kaduna area. So that petition got to the Senate, and there were senators from that senators and representatives from that region who were lobbying against Rufai. So Fabio even had a meeting with Tinubu at the time regarding this issue. So it was left to Tinubu: should he push, or should he say, okay, you know what, I'm a new president, should I just say, okay, show an example to say, okay, it's not worth it, drop him. So that was what happened, and Tinubu decided to drop him. So if you listen to that interview, Rufai even referred to a situation where he said there were people in the government, there were people who were being nominated who had even worse issue, but were nominated due to the president.
Progressive. Let me ask something. Are you telling me Tinubu did not vet him, knowing all this before he brought him out, that that may be a problem in the confirmation?
It's not a Tinubu to vet him, because it was not a criminal record. It was a concern of an ethnic people in Kaduna State. So if you look at when Tinubu was nominating his military chiefs, I think is the chief of army staff or one of them. It was actually is picked from the South Kaduna region.
Chief of defense staff is the most senior military personnel.
He picked a chief of defense staff from the South Kaduna region. So you can see that there were a lot of forces coming from that region as to how Rufai handled the issues of insecurity in that part. And I think one of the things Tinubu did was to say, okay, I'm going to pick one of you to actually address your concerns. And at the time, a lot of people from that region were very praiseful of that decision to pick one of their own to be the chief of defense staff. So the idea, what Rufai was saying, is understanding that, okay, if Tinubu really wanted him to be a minister, he could have pushed harder. But maybe the president felt like there was no need for it. There's no need to push. How many am I going to push? Maybe he had other 2, 3 that he needed to push as well. And he felt like, okay, Rufai, you can just take a back seat for now. And I think Rufai didn't like it at the time, and he felt like Tinubu should have done more.
I agree 100% with your assessment. I didn't think he was going to scale that Senate confirmation hearing. They were dug in. They were. I saw some of the senators. They were dug in. They weren't going to let that happen, no matter how it was pushed, because his crimes, by the way, were international in scope, right? He just wasn't a clean guy. There's no doubt about that. So I agree with that. Since we have that consensus, is there something else you wanted to say? Before?
So on the issue of the coup, whether the coup was an Igbo coup or the coup was not an Igbo coup. Okay, sometimes we can look at. I don't want to even look at the book that Babangida wrote. Okay, so for me, I just look at the records, history, and I just look at the formations and everything.